You would never neglect and abuse your children. Make horrible demands of your children. You would never ask. You would never ask your children to do things. Things that children shouldn't do. You would never take disgusting, sick, degrading pictures of your children doing these things. You would never treat your children like animals.
Blood and Black Rum Podcast presents 1 Hour Photo. Hey guys, welcome back to the Blood and Black Rum Podcast. I'm Ryan from Coldsploitation.com, and I'm joined with my co-host Martin.
How's it going?
Pretty good. It's good to be back. We've actually been on something of a hiatus, an unannounced hiatus.
Someone went to Canada.
Yeah, that's right. I went to Canada for a while, for a week, and we had some technical difficulties on the back end here, just matching up schedules and stuff. So we actually tried to record this episode about a week ago, and we didn't get through it all because of some interruptions. So we watched the movie, but we didn't actually get to record the show. I think we recorded 15, 20 minutes of it. And then we had interruptions, and we just basically said, let's scrap that, and we'll just restart it because that'll sound weird if we're coming back from it. And we're going to be talking about things in the past, and it just wouldn't work if we use the same episode. So we're here today, and we're gonna lay this down fresh for you and give you a fresh take. And we're talking today about 1 Hour Photo, the Robin Williams vehicle that is primarily very serious, and one of Robin Williams' more serious roles in his filmography. Now he had a few other films that were fairly serious for him. The other one primarily being is it Christopher Nolan?
Yes.
Christopher Nolan.
Insomnia. Which came out just a few months before this.
Yep. A very, very, and you would think probably if Robin Williams wanted to do more serious roles, you would want to do them in the same span of time. You'd want to be filming them together so you could get in that mindset.
Well, you could even argue Good Will Hunting.
True. Yeah.
I mean, he is does have some comedic moments, but for the most part, the film's very serious, and he does play a very kind of, serious role.
Yeah, laid back rather than outwardly comic.
But, I would even argue Dead Poets Society.
Sure. Dead Poets, yeah. I could see that. It does have its lighthearted moments, but it also has its very serious moments. So that would be one. Death to Smoochie, you could argue it's a black comedy, but it's sometimes
that's a criminally underrated movie.
But I would say,
have you seen it before?
Yeah.
That's Edward Norton's finest hour right there.
I would say that one is another one where he can showcase both comic chops, especially in a more nuanced role for comedy than just being outwardly exaggerated. That one's more of a refined comedy, black comedy. What else would you say? What else do you have? Do you have anything else that you would consider to be primarily dramatic? I guess
the episode of Law and Order SVU.
Oh, true.
SVU he was on is absolutely fantastic. I'm not that big of an SVU fan. More of a classic Law and Order guy, but the episode he's on SVU is absolutely great.
Oh, there's another one. The Night Listener. The Night Listener was another one that is kind of in the same vein as 1 Hour Photo, which we're going to talk about. I saw that one once before, a long time ago. But I think, again, that's another one of those very serious Robin Williams roles. He's had a few, but primarily he was more of a comic actor. And I think that when you think about Robin Williams' output in his filmography...
Well, he's also one of the greatest stand-up comedians of all time, too.
Yeah.
If you have not ever seen a Robin Williams stand-up, you are doing yourself a absolute terrible disservice.
Well, it's interesting because you primarily think of Robin Williams as a a comedy guy, a guy who makes you laugh. Certainly, like, roles that come to mind immediately when I think of Robin Williams would be like Mrs. Doubtfire, even Genie, you know, in Aladdin. But then when you think about his filmography, the things you really remember are those times where he really stepped outside of the box, like in 1 Hour Photo. Like, that would be one of those things that sticks out to me about Robin Williams' career, is that he was so good at doing comedy, but he was also very, very good at doing more dramatic, and in this case, sort of sad sap characters who, as we'll talk about in 1 Hour Photo, you do feel for him. You feel for, like, where this character's coming from, and then you can also kind of despise the character as well. And I think that is similar to what he did in The Night Listener as well. Now, with 1 Hour Photo, I saw this film once before, a long time ago. Like, it had to have been fairly close to when it released, and that's about it. So revisiting this film was pretty interesting to me because I remembered it, but I didn't, you know, once you see it once and then you go to watch it again, it's a different experience. You're not going to experience it the same way that you did when you first saw it. Had you seen it more than one time?
Yes. I saw, actually, I can remember clearly, the first time I saw it was right when it came out onto VHS. I don't know why, but it was one of the movies my mom rented one night when I was having a sleepover with a friend. And we happened to watch it, and at 13 years old, I loved it. Mm-hmm. I don't think I didn't understand the nuance of the film back then, but I thought it was very interesting and intriguing to see Robin Williams in a role like that and play a...
Not what you're expecting at 13, obviously.
No.
Because, one of my first Robin Williams movies would have been Mrs. Doubtfire, for sure.
Absolutely.
I think that's probably one of my first experiences
as a kid.
I may have...
I've seen Hook a million times.
Yeah. I may have seen Mrs. Doubtfire in theaters.
No.
Came out in 1993. I may have seen... I have a memory of seeing it in theaters. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like I saw it in theaters. Either way, I've loved it ever since I saw it.
Your parents did a bad job bringing to that.
That's not too bad. But yeah, 1 Hour Photo, I remember liking it when I first saw it, and definitely a different perspective from Robin Williams, but also, in general, the idea of the film is very interesting, that you have this sort of person who lives on the outskirts of your life. You know, they really don't have any impact on your life per se, day-to-day activities, but someone that you interact with, maybe, weekly, monthly, whatever, and they have such a intimate knowledge of your home relationship. So in this case, when the film was released in 2002, we were really on the cusp of breaking into digital media, breaking into the digital photography, where you wouldn't need to have someone at the, at a supermarket or a Walmart sitting there developing your photos. You didn't have a lot of film, but it was still present. And I find it really interesting, especially because I didn't live through this era long enough to really have people developing my film have an impact on me. But the idea that there were all these people who were sifting through your intimate photos, whatever you took on a camera, going through them, developing those pictures, is kind of interesting when you take 1 Hour Photo into perspective that some people might have gotten really attached to you on accident. And that's basically the premise of 1 Hour Photo, that you've monitored this one family so closely that you've become like ingrained into their family. You almost feel like family when you're not. And I think it's interesting too that 1 Hour Photo comes from the perspective most of the time of Robin Williams' character Cy. For the most part, we don't step away from that perspective. We're generally in Cy's shoes, and that partly is because he's telling the story and we're basically getting the story from Cy, but also, it's interesting that we never really step away from his perspective on things.
Especially for kind of like a stocky thriller film. usually the perspective is from the hunted and not the hunter.
Yeah, the prey. Yeah.
Which, is very interesting when it comes to this film. Also, too, because it came out in 2002, it's right in that era, like as you were saying, where digital is starting to come on the rise. For those of you who can't remember, your cheapest DVD player at the time was a PlayStation 2 or an Xbox, not an actual DVD player itself. And then broadband was just becoming a thing,
right?
You
wouldn't have you didn't have the widely extended internet access that we have now. You most certainly,
social media is not a thing.
You most certainly didn't have the social media aspect of oversharing. And in that case, that you're sharing. Most of the time, what you're sharing online. Like in one of our photos case with developed photos, maybe you accidentally snapped a picture you didn't want people to see. Well, it's on your camera, especially with like those cameras that were instant cameras, and what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, disposable camera.
Just that's it. You get it developed, and it's in there, and you never really think about it. But all of those images were sifted through by a technician like Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo, and they got an intimate snapshot into your life that maybe you wouldn't share those photos with other people.
Which is funny now compared to how social media and the tech revolution has made, like, everyone's like, look at all the fucking pictures I got, look at what, now everyone parades their pictures around, because, see, look, don't I have the perfect life?
Is my ass cheek hanging out of that bathing suit? Post it!
Which Robin Williams does make a great point in this film, aside. He says nobody takes pictures of things that they want to forget. They want to take pictures of happy moments, great things that they want to remember.
Yeah.
And isn't that just, the perfect sum up of today's, obsession with social media, pictures, Snapchat, and all of that? What are you sending on Snapchat besides your dick? You're sending, you're sending, pictures to people that, you're like, look at the fun I'm having.
Right.
Don't you wish you were doing this? Or,
the idea is to promote the image that you constantly have an excellent life, that you're never not having fun, that people should be jealous that they're not hanging out with you. And even if they are not hanging out with you and they're not jealous about that, they're jealous that they don't have the picture, literally picture perfect lifestyle that you have. And I think that's a lot of the reason why too, why this Instagram, influencers have popped up, because in general, they are. It's like your feed is a window into something that you wish you had. That you were able to go to exotic locales, and
I know what is my Snapchat when I swipe to the far right and see all the different things to click on. It's just these random people who just take pictures. Look at my ass today. Here's my ass in this shot. Here's me doing this. Isn't this fantastic? Give me money so I can show you.
Show you more. I'll do more. I'll go to this fancy hotel and swing on the chandelier.
Yeah, just
yeah.
And which is funny too, because there are people who like to just post negative things on social media and oh, life sucks, my life's miserable, but they're not posting pictures about it.
They're not. Yeah, they're not taking pictures of all the things that suck and then posting it.
They post the pictures when it's here's something good that finally.
I guess the only time you'd ever take a bad picture is for car insurance. Here's my smashed up vehicle.
It's not bad for the car insurance, though.
That's true, yeah. That's true. Someone's going to derive pleasure out of that. The car insurance being ooh, your rates just doubled. Yep. All right, so we're just going to skip the beer talk this week.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Unfortunately for all the fans of beer talk, we really just haven't been drinking too much new stuff, and that's partially because we haven't really found anything new out lately. We did, I think last time, we did start to record something about a new beer that we drank, and I can't remember what it even was anymore. Do you?
Nope,
I don't even remember. And, but other than that, all we really had was, I got the Sierra Nevada Fall Pack, which has...
Nothing fall, really?
Yeah, it has the Tumbler Brown Ale, it has a Vienna Lager, and then the Ruthless Rye and the Torpedo, which I wouldn't even consider Ruthless Rye or Torpedoes to be a fall beer. So
and the Vienna Lager's been in a summer pack.
Yep.
with Ruthless Rise, but in the spring pack, they don't care.
Yeah, and then the autumn one, the tumbler, they always do. But what are you gonna do? But that's it. That's all we've had. So nothing new. So we really don't have any updates for beer.
And it's been too damn hot for the Oktoberfest.
It's true.
Well, you said otherwise. You said
I can do it anyway, but it has been quite warm, and I'm happy to see that it's chilling. It's getting chillier. So that's nice. But we're gonna go right through into 1 hour photo. We got some stuff to talk about anyway.
Bringing a little Canadian accent with you on that one, photo.
I guess, yeah.
1 hour photo.
Spending a week in Canada really did that to me, eh? But yeah, we're gonna go right into it. I'm just gonna.
You know what? I do have a beer.
What's that?
I finally tried, because of your Canadian trip. I was inspired to get a 12-pack of Moosehead. One of the famed, beautiful horror beers ever. From My Bloody Valentine, the original.
Yep.
Surprisingly, not a twist top. That really did surprise me.
Didn't go for the twist tops, huh?
No.
Interesting.
And it was $12 for the 12-pack.
Yeah,
so.
it's pretty cheap, I think. And Moosehead was all around. I mean, in Canada, they had, we would see, Bush advertisements about and stuff, up on billboards. Well, they had Moosehead ones. So, and they have colorful cans for Moosehead as well.
Oh, do they?
Yep.
Dark green?
Oh, I mean, all kinds of colors. They got orange. They got blue.
I know they have a Rattler.
Yep. So
you could be okay there.
Oh yeah. No, they've got all
indigestion.
They've got all different colors of cans. So,
but no. So I've been meaning to try it for a while. Just haven't really gotten around to it. And I bought it last week, and I will say it's probably the best macro Canadian beer I've ever had. It's much better than Labatt, and it's a lot better than Molson. So
I would like to try some, but you drank it all.
Yeah, well, it was nice and refreshing.
I'll have to get some. Like I said, it's not that expensive over here, so
gotta find it in cans.
Yeah,
I
don't like the bottle.
It's just a bigger pain in the ass to recycle.
True,
but no, it's pretty good. I mean, not much to say. It tastes like a regular Canadian lager, but compared to Labatt and Molson, it's much better. It's crisper, more refreshing. Got a lot more of a flavor profile.
I'll have to check it out.
But you can tell it does taste like a Canadian beer. So yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised by that. I would actually, if I could find it in cans, I would make that my mixer upper.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
All right, so there you have it. It's My Bloody Valentine was right. And they had included Moosehead as, though it wasn't, basically an advertisement.
Is their slogan, "There's a moose loose about the moose"?
They love that.
I know.
Our listeners love that Canadian accent. All right, so like I said, we're gonna go right into 1 hour photo, because we got some stuff to talk about. So 1 hour photo, basically, we kind of gave the premise, but we have Robin Williams' character Cy, who works as a photo technician at what's this place called again?
The Savmart?
The Savmart. I don't know why they decided this in the film, but Robin Williams works at it's supposed to be sort of like a Walmart. I think you're supposed
knockoff.
Yeah, like a knockoff of Walmart. They didn't want to go that far and say this is a Walmart center, but
they would.
But it basically is. You don't want like a potential molester working at your Walmart in your movie stuff. But the place is called Save Mart, but it's spelled completely incorrectly. Like it's not even. I don't know how you would ever.
I get what they were going for, but I mean SAV then Mart. Yeah, that's Sav Mart.
No one is ever gonna pronounce that A like a long A sound for that.
Yeah,
but I mean I get what they're going for. But yeah, Save Mart. So he works at Save Mart as a photo technician. He's been doing it for a long time, 20 years, I think they said. And he has been basically developing everybody's film in this. I get the feeling that it's a relatively small town. It's not huge. It's not like a huge city, but it's
looks like it could be the suburban Saw.
Yeah, basically, yeah, like a small suburb on the outskirts.
While Jigsaw
of a city.
is parading around Saw City, we got Robin Williams out in 1 hour photo
hiding in the
suburbs.
technician's boot.
Yeah, in the suburbs.
So he's been working on these photos for 20 years. He really takes pride in doing all these photos, and obviously at this time, like we were saying, the film does bring up the fact that in 2002, digital photography is really encroaching on film photography, and so there is that overhanging terror that regular film photography is going to be replaced with a digital photography sooner or later. So it's brought up in the film, and Sai basically says, don't go to digital photography because you're going to put me out of business. And so that's an interesting
that's more of a coy joke he makes to the main family. He's basically telling...
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is that don't get a digital camera. First of all, because they're crappier. Like, you get better film.
No, it's more he's making when he's talking to Nina Yorkin, he's... Basically, he's making he's making small talk. Two, it's also if after you watch the film, it's more he's saying it because like, well, if you get a digital camera, that means you're not coming here.
Yeah, you're not going to see me.
And if that means if you're not seeing coming here, then I'm not seeing you guys. I'm not talking to you guys, and I don't get to look at your photos, and then I'm basically cut out of your life.
Yep.
And from the obsession that we see throughout the film that he has for the Yorkin family,
that's something that he doesn't want to sacrifice.
Yeah.
So he's, I mean, I think even from that, and that's a very early scene in the film, that we kind of gets that little tidbit that, don't go to digital photography, and Nina is actually kind of just joking about it, really, at that point. People keep telling me I need to go to a digital camera.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't, inferring from what the film said, it's not a major point, and I don't think it's a point that the director's trying to get across. Like I said, it's more just to look into, especially after you watch the film, about Sai and his obsession with the family.
Yeah.
Because for Sai, he's a very lonely man. He lives alone in an apartment by himself. He's, probably early 50s.
Yeah, all he has really is this job.
And his little hamster.
Yeah, the little hamster. Yeah,
he lives in a very bleak and just colorless apartment. He wears very bleak and colorless clothes. He dresses in your stereotypical old person garb. The beige pleated pants. Those like sand beige colored orthopedic shoes, the white shirt. He works in a very sterile place. The Save Mart here is immaculately like the Walmart that that's how you know it's not Walmart.
Gary Cole's really keeping it up.
Yeah, running a tight ship because it's very sterile. When you see scenes of him walking down the aisles, everything is like it's like everything's perfect. Like there's perfect symmetry. It
kind of reminds me of a cross between a Walmart and like what you'd think of as a sterile CVS. Because sometimes CVS can be trashy, but sometimes CVS's can be like very sterile as well. When you go to the very bright lighting.
Well, when you go to like a nice one.
Exactly. So it reminds me of a cross between those because you got like you got your pharmacy, you got your little, you got your little photo technician booth.
But it does look like Walmart back before Supercenters took over, and you had just basically warehouses with concrete, and like have at it, shoppers.
Yep.
Where there's everything, you had every aisle very neatly and organized, and because that one scene when he runs into Bill York and like in the computer section, like right before that, you see it just as a teddy bear on a shelf because it's crooked. There's a bunch of them down the entire aisle, and they're all just like I said, it's perfect symmetry in those shots, and again. I think the cinematography in this film is outstanding and really lends to the theme of the whole film about photography and how looks can be deceiving.
Well, yeah, and like with all of this tidiness and very blandness with Sai, I mean, I definitely would want to kill myself.
It's a very dreary and lonely existence, and then for almost 15 years he's been doing the pictures for the Yorkins, and he sees their pictures, and they're having birthday parties. They have a son named Jake. All the pictures they have are just fun. Their house is wonderful, and they look like they're just the absolute perfect family, like what everyone would strive to be. And we find out as we watch the film, they're not the perfect family. That they have their own problems.
Yeah, but the biggest thing, I mean, before we really find out that they're not the perfect family, is even just the idea that, Sai has basically transformed himself into like this voyeuristic onlooker who feels like he's in this family. Like he's making extra photos for himself from their pictures. And even in the beginning of the film, you really don't get this lecherous quality from Sai. It's more of like a feeling like he needs to be needed. Like he wants to be needed in some way when he's talking, because most of our initial interactions with Sai is with him and Nina. So you would expect from those initial ones that he'd be like in love with Nina. Like it would be the female interest part
that
of this film that he's infatuated with, but it's not.
He even says when they're that first conversation that they're having, and she's saying like, "Oh, you got that only one shot left on the film roll." She's like, "Oh, it's no big deal." He's like, "Well, it'd be a shame to waste it, And he takes a picture of himself, to add to the role. And as they're talking about how he's been doing their pictures for like 13, 15 years, and they're like, "Yeah, it's been a long time, And he's like, "I feel like I'm, Uncle Sai."
Yeah.
It's not really, it doesn't come across as lecherous at all, but it does come across as kind of like.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's like an important distinction though, because it would be very easy for 1 Hour Photo to go the very generic route of saying like Sai's infatuated with Nina and he becomes a stalker because he's infatuated with this one woman. But it's not that case in the film, and especially with writer-director Mark Romanek bringing this out within the film and in the showcase on Robin Williams. It's kind of important that we see from Robin Williams' perspective, because that does show us that no, he's not just interested in Nina. It's not about just a love interest. It's about a familial connection between these people, the Yorkins, and him. And so that's like all of those little insertions into their life, like him taking the photograph of himself.
We see him daydreaming too, of going over to the house and
being invited inside and taking care of it. It's a very
imagining himself in their Christmas picture, like behind their son Jake, like with his hands around the shoulder, like it's like oh yeah, there's Uncle Si, there's Uncle Si.
Yeah, I mean it's important that we get these details, because it does bring out a sense of emotional connection with Si in some way. You feel bad for the guy. I mean, obviously he's not super stable, but this is a way for him to like get through life without wanting to kill himself. It's partially like a connection to something other than his really mundane and bleak existence. And so he has that's kind of bridging him along. Like, as long as he has this family of people that he can kind of get a snapshot window into their family life, he's okay. But then once the film progresses into that territory where they begin to suspect like Sai's doing things that really aren't up to snuff within Save Mart's policies, like creating extra pictures that they have on the budgetary restriction that they can see. Wow, where's all this film going? Why is this? Why don't the budgets match up? At that point,
giving away
a free camera
to Jake, because he says, there's a special for birthday boys.
And it almost, in that scene, sounds like he's done that previously too. Not just because he says free cameras, we've only seen him give one. But there must be a history of giving out free cameras.
Yeah, but again, going back to Garrett Cole ain't taking, shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's
find it hard to believe he would let,
just snap down on the first one that happens. Yeah. That's I mean,
he even in that this is like dating back to, like, again, you got to be like our age to remember like photo size. When he, after Nina comes back to get her pictures, he's like, "Oh, I did them in 5x7." She's like, "Oh, I want 4x6."
Right, because
he's like
5x7s would be better quality, more expensive,
bigger, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't charge you extra, but it's a better picture quality." And she's like,
"Oh, okay, thank you."
That just makes me think back to like elementary school. Like, okay, it's time for the class photo. And you had to give the packet to your parents. What do you want? Like, just the fucking wallet? Did you want the portraits, or did you want, like, the $40 package that's, like, 5x7, 4x6, 12x8, shit ton of wallets, so... You know, isn't that like such an archaic thing now when you think about it? Like
oh yeah,
here's a picture of my son. They whip out their wallet and like,
unless people are really photographers or they're getting something developed specifically for like a wedding or something like that, you don't really think about picture sizes anymore. I don't remember the last time I've ever had pictures printed really. So I never, 4x6, 5x7. No, I've never. That's something that you don't really even think about anymore. I think in pixels now. I think, 1280 by 700, something like that. You know, I think in pixels. But it's kind of interesting to see that, and that is dating.
You know, especially now that I've rewatched the film, you know, over and over. That's like something that always like, wow, like Jesus, that's. You know, it's like if a kid, like a 13-year-old, was watching this movie, like, what the fuck, you know?
5x7.
4x, you know, what?
They would,
what?
That would kind of be glossed over. I mean, they would get the gist of it.
Wow, that makes me think.
You mean when you take school photos now?
Yeah, what do they do now?
Just send them to your email. No, I really don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
Hey, $25.
Maybe they do still do the packets like we had, where you give it to your parents and
turn your head to the left, lift it up slowly, put your hand underneath your chin. You know,
it's a science on how to do school photos.
But like that just again that's one of the things in the film that brings me back. Like wow.
Yeah, and then that scenario again, like that's another area where Sai is going to get caught at some point by giving out these better photographs.
And I think too, even though because as we see later on, you see in his apartment one of the great eerie shots in the film when we first see him like in his apartment and he's sitting and he's watching a movie and we see how bleak and drab it is, and then you hear this ominous music playing and it's got this low, you know, Dutch angle shot of him sitting in his chair, and then slowly pans to one of his walls, which is totally blank and white and, you know, drab, but at the same time it's got like hundreds of photos from the Yorkins throughout, you know, since they started. So, but it almost feels like though, like when we start the film, it was like an obsession at first to make him, you know, feel like, you know, connected and get something out of that, like, you know, feel what he has a vision of as the perfect family and the perfect life that he doesn't have and that he wants. But it almost seems like from like when we first have that interaction, what happens, his obsession isn't just what it used to be. It's now like...
Yeah, it's progressed more.
It's much, you know, over the past couple of weeks, like it's... been stepping up
for sure,
because he probably was at first. He's probably getting away with making, you know, the extra copies for himself, but as like, you know, as it's going on, now he's doing the like, I'm gonna try to, you know, I'll get them better copies, I'll give Jacob a camera, you know,
I think we have to,
I'll buy him the Evangelion unit, you know.
I think we have to we have to assume that in some way that and as true to life that his obsession has become bigger and bigger. As you know, at first, even when you mentioned like his collecting of the photos, maybe he didn't even make copies. Maybe he just took one that wasn't really going to be noticed as missing, and then it kind of progressed from there, and then he started making copies. Because you're right, Gary Cole's character does run a tight ship. I doubt that would be something that would go on for a very long period of time that wouldn't be noticed. And Gary Cole, let's just mention it now, is great in this film again. He is a total prick, and I love it.
The 10 minutes he's in it.
He is a total prick. I love it. It's a great extension and more serious role.
Bill Lumberg.
Yeah, Bill Lumberg, and he even has the name Bill Owens in this. So, you know, there is that sort of connection to Office Space, whether they wanted it or not. But he is. I mean, his character in this is great. He does add a little bit of levity to it as well, just because of the, I don't know, it's black comedy, I guess, but I find him to be just a little bit funny as well because of how serious he's really taking this Save Mart shop. I mean, I guess you do. If you're gonna be like what, district manager or something, you gotta take it seriously. But
he's the manager.
Yeah. So you gotta take it seriously, but at the same time, you know, he's still a funny character. I think he does a great job for the 10 minutes that he's in.
I do love when he's talking to Sai on, you know, when Sai's on break and he's like, don't you have any time off saved?
Right,
like, why don't you go to a Club Med? Which again, let's, you know, not, you know, a little dating back there, you know, Club Med, but
well, and also just to assume that Sai would have enough money to go to Club Med or something like that for on his vacation after working at a photo technician booth for 20 years.
To be fair, I mean, you've been with a company for 20 years. You're making...
Hopefully.
You're making, well, not money, but you're making pretty goddamn good time off by then. You know.
Hopefully. Not anymore. Not anymore. You can be at companies for 20 years and you don't get shit.
Really? My job you do.
Depends on where you work, but...
That's if you can make it.
Right.
They make those goals so nice now. It's like, let's see if you can make it that long, you know.
Yeah, basically.
I also do love the one scene, too, to kind of show Sai's obsession, too, when the photo tech guy comes in to check the machine, and he's, you know, like, you know, getting into an argument with him about, like, a 0.02 variation in the blue.
Right.
And that guy's, like, a normal guy is just having none of this shit. He's like, you call me down for this shit, you know, we don't even, you know, do anything about it until it's, like, at 0.3, and you're coming down for a 0.02 discrepancy? Because it also shows, too, that, like, Sai, though, he's also obsessed with his... Again, he takes it very serious and personal, and he's a perfectionist.
Yep.
And he, you know, wants everything perfect.
Yeah, like... Because I guess, like, 0.02... in camera terms, like, it wouldn't be noticeable to, like, the naked eye. You probably wouldn't notice it. But to Sai, it's a big deal. It's a big, big deal.
Cares about the customer.
Yes. He wants them to make sure they get their money's worth. So, yeah, we haven't really dived into the Yorkin family yet. But, so the Yorkin family, like we said before, they really, I mean, in their pictures, it looks like they have the perfect life. But they really don't. There's a whole instance of Nina really feeling like she's getting nothing out of this relationship with Will. And
played by Connie Nielsen.
Yep.
Also known as Hippolyta in the terrible DC movie.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And, you know, she feels like she's really not getting much out of the relationship with her husband, Will. And they've kind of, like, been drawn apart. Will's been working a lot. And actually, we find out, yeah, it's not that he's been working a lot. He's been, stepping out on his relationship and actually seeing another woman named Maya, played by Erin Daniels. And that becomes a huge issue because Sai finds out about it. He finds out that in the pictures that he develops for Maya, he finds out that, oh, wait a second, there's Nina's husband Will in those. And it becomes this sort of almost detective job that he takes on, or like a private investigator, where he sets out to take photos of them together and kind of bring them down, bring their illicit affair down. And I like that part too, because I think actually Sai is a pretty good private investigator. Although he does follow it way too closely. Yeah, he tails way too closely. But I think it's an interesting element too, because like, at this point, we know that Sai thinks that the Yorkins are a perfect family. And so when that happens, when he finds out that actually Will is not, and it's at a certain point too, you're still thinking like, well, maybe he's just infatuated with Nina. Like maybe that's still the ultimate motive here.
Well, no, because when he first talks to Will, he's all like he's flabbergasted. Like you're Will Yorkin.
True, he is, but still,
and Will, because he doesn't really come to the store, he's like, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah,
you know, like.
He's like, oh, you're the photo guy.
Oh, you're Sai, the photo guy. But not only that, there is a little bit more, I will say, too, before going on, Will's got a little bit more, it's a very subtle, I will say a subtle character depth, because it hints at, when Nina and Will get in their first fight, when she calls him emotionally neglectful to her and their son, Jake, he's also, he's like arguing with her too, like, like all you do is, spend, our goddamn money, because they live in a fucking beautiful house with like every modern wonder of 2002 shoved in there.
That's true. It is a very, well, I mean, it's definitely a 2000s modern house, but it's nice. It's very nice.
Yeah, and she's a stay-at-home mom.
Yep.
But like he's like,
so there's some resentment there.
Yeah, I'll say so. Like his subtle character depth is like, he's resentful, like he's working his ass off, she's just pissing the money away, on, all this crap that he probably views isn't needed, and he feels distant from her just from, how like they both are living their lives at that,
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I think that the film really shies away from any sort of sympathy towards Will, for sure.
Well, no, I agree. I'm not saying he's a likable or good person, but
Yeah.
you can, from that first interaction that they have, you can see like, all right, this is why he's probably cheating right now.
Yeah,
is
there's
because
stress on the relationship.
yeah,
that's
that
causing
he
it.
feels resentment for
Yeah.
these reasons, and she resents doesn't really care for him at the moment because he's neglectful of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the overall the thing that I found interesting, because even at that point though, I was still thinking a little bit like, well, there's possibility that there's still that sense that Sai wants to kindle a romance with Nina, but at that point it's not. It's really more about him being super torn up about this fact that this perfect family that he's been monitoring for years and years has been hiding this darkness in their relationship that he didn't know about. And it's less about getting, any sort of relationship with Nina and more about exposing it so that they can fix the relationship. And at that point, you can just see the wall sort of crumbling with Robin Williams' character. And Robin Williams does a great job at this, of really starting to become a little bit unhinged because he loses his job. He finds out about this affair and that facade of being okay in his life because he has this perfect family.
Which, as we mentioned too while watching it, Gary Cole, not so smart when he's like, "You're fired. Finish out the week."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, who's going to finish out the week at this job that they just got fired at? Not me.
You know what my job says when you put 2 weeks in? They just send you home and they don't have you come back.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I know, but I would not finish out the week. That's just me. But
well, especially if I had the PTO time saved up
True,
where they're gonna cash it out. Just be like, all right,
I'll use it. Yeah,
but no, Gary Cole does make a good threat. He says, and if you fuck anything up, I'm gonna make your life a living hell. Yeah. But still, that kind of makes me think of something that would happen in the 50s. And you're fired. You gotta finish the week out though. And it's like, well, because I'm a good person, I'll still show up and do my job earnestly.
I'll hitch up my slacks and I'll do the job. But
maybe someone else will see that, oh, wow, you got fired and you took it well. You sat there, you still worked hard for the best.
There you go. I do think though that this is really the part when we get to that, the final moments of 1 hour photo. Not even the final, but probably the last half hour, where we see Robin Williams really shine, because that's the time where he gets to act very unhinged. So we've had this kind of personal bond with him throughout, and he's a emotionally compelling character. Certainly has his pathological issues, but we have a feeling, an emotion shared with him, a bond. And so you get to this point, and now he becomes very unhinged. He's following people in their cars. He's taking photographs of them. And you can see this
threatening Gary Cole by spying on, that's awesome.
Threatening him,
when he goes and stalks Gary Cole's daughter and takes pictures and turns it into a flip book of her playing in the yard.
He's really putting his skills to use.
And then how he just masterfully kind of maneuvers around the hotel and sets to trap Nina and Will. I mean, not Nina. Will and Maya in the hotel. You're right. He would have been he should have been a private eye.
Yeah. That's what he should have been in. But I like this whole idea that you have this guy who's been so enraptured with a perfect family, seeing all the best things in people, and then you have this very literal change that's both, it's a metaphor for life, that there's these things that are hidden that people don't see, and maybe you didn't even see. And all of a sudden, things turn to shit. And he can't handle it. And he can't handle it because he's been also living this perfect life with them. He's been putting himself into those shoes. And that crumbles, and so he starts to break down.
I believe the word you're looking for is he's just living vicariously.
Yeah, he is. He's living vicariously through this couple, this family. So then at the end of that film, when he's telling the story, we get this really chilling recount of him forcing Maya and Will to do various sexual acts on each other while he has his camera with them. And so the expectation really is that he's been taking pornographic pictures of them, forcing them to do these things. And then at the end, when you see the photos that he's always wanted to see throughout this whole thing as he's been interviewed by the police.
Because it's a flashback.
Yep.
Which is, I will say, though a contrived method of storytelling for the most part, works here. Mm-hmm. It does work, as a police interrogation.
True.
And I do like the fact that the police are like actual detectives, not stereotypical movie cops. Like, what the fuck did you do, you sicko? They're like,
they're giving him the room to tell his story. Yeah, basically, they legitimately want to know.
Yeah, like, Sai, what was going on? What happened? Tell us, what happened.
And I think that changes too because, like as I said, when we get to those photos and you see what the photos are, they're pictures of general things in the hotel room. They're not. It's like a picture of the corner wall of the hotel, a picture of the bathtub pole,
a chair.
Yeah, a chair, and so it's more compelling, I think, than just having. I mean that.
So, do you think he took the actual pictures, or do you think they're just no film in the actual camera?
I don't think he took the pictures at all. I think he was making a point, basically. That, and I think that's really the most impactful moment of the film is that he forces them to do that, doesn't take the photos, and in that sense makes it so that they're useless. It doesn't matter what they're doing. He doesn't need that. He just takes mundane photographs.
And he's traumatized.
Because it's worse. Yeah, because it's worse.
Because we want to say, and they're... That's another nice thing, too. I mean, it's not nice, but they show that, they're both traumatized from this. When the cops get into the hotel room, Maya's, sitting in, the bathtub with the shower head running, your very stereotypical, like...
sitting in the running water.
To clean yourself of, like, the thing that just happened, which is a cliche that I'm not fond of, but it does work here, for the circumstances. And Will just kind of sitting on the bed, shell-shocked at what the hell just happened.
Yep.
And you may be asking, well, how the hell did Robin Williams get these two to do that? Well, he, broke in, slammed the door in Maya's face, and broke her nose in the process, which, that was pretty clever. And he had a knife with him. He had a hunting knife with him.
Yeah, which he stole from Save Mart.
Yeah.
Which apparently Save Mart also has large knives. It is a Walmart. But yeah, I think it's a really compelling moment. It's where the film really comes together again with that photograph, the whole idea of photographs and of not taking pictures of things that you don't want to remember. And that's basically it right there. And it's also what we get at the end of the film for Sai's explanation, which we played at the beginning of the episode, of his past trauma that isn't really explicit, but is fairly well implied by what he's saying to the police officer. He's not saying it directly. He's not saying I had pictures taken of me when I was younger, but the implication is that that's what happened. And he's saying you wouldn't do that because you're a regular, you're a good person, but someone did that to me. And so I think that the whole idea of 1 hour photo is very interesting. Sai is not really a villain in the sense you would generally expect from a film. He's more of an anti-hero in a sense in this film because that's who we follow throughout the entire thing, and you're almost like sympathetic to him, like, you don't need to do this. You don't have to do this. You have more to live for, and that's arguable, I guess, because really the film shows that no, he doesn't. Losing his job and losing out on this perfect family, what does he have to go back to? His hamster.
You're doing a great anti-suicide.
I know, right?
Like, I would love to have you be a call person. For
no,
that.
I wouldn't be a good one. I wouldn't be a good one because, yeah, I mean, in some ways, I wouldn't be able to.
You would be that person in Scary Movie when the principal's like, "Oh, I'm gonna jump," and like, "What are you waiting for?"
I mean, I guess I wouldn't be able to say a lie like, "Well, you do have a lot to live for." You got 4 walls and a shitty job. I guess you've got it going on.
You live in the suburbs of Saw.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is tough. It's a tough thing because, you can understand his plight. You can understand why he's really got nothing else besides these photographs.
And we see that more, too, because there's several times where he has pictures of other people like he buys, you know, a photo, like a nice old photo that he sees at like at a thrift sale, and he like someone asks like, "Oh, who's that?" He's like, "Oh, that's my mother."
Yeah, because he's constantly reinventing.
Which I told you too. Like one of the things I want to do is like go to like Target and buy the pictures frames and keep the stock photos in there, like have them all around my apartment. And people are like, "Oh, what's that?" I'm like, well, man, this is the one time. It wasn't me, but this is my friend and his girlfriend. This is the magical adventure they went on when I was sitting at home, and I can tell you about it though.
Yeah, I mean, I think in some ways it's the same. He's reinventing his
identity.
His identity constantly because he doesn't. It's partially because he doesn't want to remember what happened, and he doesn't have any memory, and doesn't have any pictures of it because that was a bad time in his life, and you don't take pictures of bad things. So it all kind of wraps around, and I think 1 Hour Photo does a really good job. I think the only thing that I would really say is that it's a little bit dated now. Like you definitely see the 2000s film editing and sort of just the camera work that you would see from a early 2000s film. But that's about it. I think it's actually a really...
I think that I would disagree.
Yeah.
I think the cinematography in this is very good.
The cinematography is good. The actual
I would say
shot construction is good.
And I think the shot construction is good. I think, and the way it's shot is good. The only thing I would say that makes it dated is its color use.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Which,
the sort of...
The overuse of like blue hues and sometimes, you know, green. However, I will say though, it works in this film. Why? Because what's a phototech, you know, colors that are used to make everything red, blue, and green.
Yeah.
So the fact that certain scenes have a certain hue to them, it works.
Yeah.
I haven't, you know, I've seen this film 1,000 times, but that's something I haven't really broken down yet. So maybe that's something I have to watch and see, like, what scenes do they use certain colors for, you know, to kind of, like, you know, what's the motif going on with that? That's something I just thought of, like, I'll have to do later on as, like, a...
Yeah, well, the red is really only used for the red room. You know,
there's a few shots where...
But, yeah. I mean, that's interesting. Didn't really notice that too much in terms of, like, was there a pattern?
I think, if anything, you gotta be mad at Nina Yorkin's fucking Spice Girl pigtails all around look in the mall.
Her haircut, her dated hair.
Well, no, like, her regular haircut was fine. I think that looks lovely.
And then still a bob.
Yeah.
Just got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the askew pigtails.
Yeah. That was terrible.
I don't know what she had. It was
and that lovely, long, baggy sweater. Nice, you know, like, sweater. Oh, yeah. No.
Nice little cardigan.
I love, 13-year-old me loved that. And 28-year-old me still loves it, too.
I think that just, it is a little dated, but it still holds up. And I think, like we were talking about, the idea of someone being so enraptured with your life is still a possibility today.
Well, we've seen other films that have come out in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
I don't remember their names, but they're those terrible social media films.
Yeah, exactly. You have those where you still have that sort of stalker aspect, and now it's arguably easier. You don't have to be a photo technician that's working somewhere. You can just be an online user and perving through people's Facebook pages until you find someone that really sticks out to you, and then you constantly have a stream that you can go back to. And at a certain point, the stream becomes too little. You're not getting enough from it.
Not only that, now you have the whole, and I didn't know what this was until like a week ago, sliding into DMs.
Yeah.
Didn't know what the fuck that was. Who calls like their message box DMs?
Direct messaging. You've never heard
that? That's a term from like the 90s.
Wow.
No. Because
we know how much Tindering Martin does.
No, here's the reason why. Well, because what am I going to Tinder?
I'm just kidding.
What am I going to Tinder out in a farm town?
Yeah,
nothing.
True.
A goat. No, because I didn't know people still called it direct messaging. That's a term from like back like.
Yeah, I don't think they do. I mean, people wouldn't use direct messaging anymore, but they do. I mean, they abbreviate it to DMs.
No, that's what I'm saying, because it's like that's something like. When I was like a teenager on forums.
Like a forum.
Yeah, like, oh, send me a DM, send me a direct message. That's why I found it weird, because like, really, you call your Facebook Messenger?
A little dated. Yeah, like the DM part of it does sound dated.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I gotcha.
That's why I was like, really? You know? Because we talk about Facebook Messenger all the time and how it pisses us off and it's annoying. It's like
but the DM thing is a good example because, you know, more so women, but there's the easy way to just receive these messages from random strangers that you don't know. And because they've had this constant access to your life or whatever pictures you're taking of your life that are showing this perfect life, they feel like they know you in some way. And that's exactly what 1 Hour Photo does, just with a more dated concept of film cameras rather than the digital era that we have now. But yeah, you're right. There have been movies that have done this in the past. I don't know that they've done it to the particularly good degree that 1 Hour Photo does. I don't think they're as strong, but they have been in the limelight in the past. Do you have anything else that you want to add to 1 Hour Photo before we give a rating to it? Anything you want to say?
Yeah. Besides Robin Williams, who is absolutely a delight in this film, he plays a very great, just manic, stressed out man in this film. What do you think of the rest of the cast? We talked about him and Gary Cole.
Yeah.
As Manager Bill of the Save Mart.
I think that a lot of the cast is really just secondary anyway. I think Robin Williams is the main focus of this film, but I think that Connie Nielsen does a pretty good job of what we see with her. She's probably the next main person in this film besides Robin Williams. I think Michael Vartan is really kind of absent throughout the film as Will, so we don't get that much. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's very emotive in this film.
See, right, Owen Wilson?
Yeah, but I think, he's okay for the part, but I probably, now I probably would have picked somebody else. The kid, Jacob, not really a non-entity. Not even gonna bother with that one.
I will say, for a child actor, he's better than most.
True.
Yeah.
A
little too intellectual, especially when he was talking to his mom about how he thinks Sai's lonely, and Nina's asking him, "Why do you think that?" And he's like, "Oh, because of just how he acts and all that." And she's like, "No, he's probably got a girlfriend and all that." That's another great transition too, when she's like talking about, "No, he's probably got friends and family. We don't know that." And then they flash to him sitting in his apartment alone by himself.
Yeah. And
we get to see how drab and dreary it is. I think for Dylan Smith as Jacob, he's like I said, for a child actor, he's pretty good. Because I didn't find him annoying at all, and abrasive, like I find most child actors. So that, I would say that's a plus for me.
Erin Daniels as Maya, could take her or leave her.
She's boobs.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. Again, she's not really a focus. She's just kind of there. Could be anybody, and it would serve the same purpose. I actually did like the character, the side character Yoshi, because he genuinely seems to have a very upset reaction to his coworker Sai getting fired from his Save Mart position. And he's like, "Just thank you for all that you taught me." Like, everybody in this photo technician's booth is taking photo tech very seriously, and I like that.
That scene's also great too, because Robin Williams has when most people get fired and they don't think they should get fired, this is fucking ridiculous, this is bullshit. Robin was like, "And Yoshi, just letting you know, today's my last day.
Yeah.
I have been terminated." Yoshi's like, "What? And they fired you?" And he's like, "Yes, Yoshi, they fired me. It's a terrible thing."
Yeah, it's a very serious, solemn moment. He's not very emotional about it. He's just kind of giving the news. Today's my last day.
Yeah, and he gives him a handshake, and he's like, "It's been a pleasure to work with you." And Yoshi's like, "It's been a pleasure, working,
I like that, but I like Yoshi.
Yeah, no.
He's only in it for a few minutes, but I like him.
You're right. The characters are ancillary.
Oh, sure.
They're really, totally just there to fill out the story.
They're there to interact with Sai for the most part.
Yeah. And again, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, because again, I think Robin Williams' performance in this is literally a powerhouse performance, and
you don't need anything
so
else.
Dynamic. Everyone, you literally could have cardboard cutouts and Gary Cole, and it's still great. Which basically you're right. Connie Nielsen's outside of Robin Williams and Gary Cole, the only other one that's kind of
important to the.
But even still, she's pretty wooden too.
Sure.
And I think that mainly has to come along with the fact that she's living a sham of a marriage right now, and
true.
feeling empty.
She's
Feeling empty on the inside too. It'd be kind of nice to see what like how her day to day is going. Gotta go fucking grocery shopping for this asshole now. He wants hollandaise sauce, and I hate eggs Benedict. I'm sick of this shit.
The only other one that I want to bring up is the guy who comes in. He's the photo tech repair guy. So that's played by Nick Searcy. He's in Justified. And that's it.
He's great because he's pissed off.
Yeah, he is. Really,
he's
don't you fucking call me out here again for a .2.
Be like calling like your Terminex guy. Like I saw an ant. And
he's
like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Call me when they're crawling all over the place.
You saw one ant.
Yeah. But
you probably brought it in yourself. Yeah.
Score. I think fun fact. 9 Inch Nails originally did the score.
They originally did the score?
They didn't use it.
Oh, okay. Well, that actually does not surprise me that much, because Trent Reznor has gone on to do a lot of things, like The Social Network. He scored. So he's been doing a lot more of the sort of ambient music scores, and that's kind of what what is 1 hour photo, but an ambient score going on. There's not like a lot of things that are drawing your attention to the score. It's not really.
It's very quiet.
Yeah, it's not the main focus.
That's another thing too. First time I saw it when I was 13, and that was very striking about this film. It's one of the first ones I ever saw. It's very quiet, low key, low tempo.
Not a lot of
not a lot of background noise. Very and that's why I like it when the score kicks in. Like when Robin Williams is running out of the hotel, he's running down the parking lot. It's like goes from like a slow like do 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 do, and then like as he's like he's getting closer and closer to being caught, it starts to build and swell.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the music's just very very low key in the background, kind of like just like this little heartbeat going throughout.
Yeah, it is.
So
yeah, I like it. I mean, I think that probably I would like to hear 9 Inch Nails' version of it. Or
they did. I think they released it on some EPs.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're called.
I mean, I'm thinking it was mostly more Trent Reznor that was composing it. But yeah, it would be. I mean, I can't imagine like a very nice industrial score to this one, like a 9 Inch Nail, actual 9 Inch Nail song. But
when he's threatening Maya and Will, he's like, I'm gonna put some music on. He starts playing, I want to fuck you like an animal.
Yeah. No, I don't see that. But I think the score's pretty good. Like I said, it's not really something that you're supposed to notice anyway. You're not, except for those scenes that you talked about. The ones that get tense. Yeah.
I will say too, I also really like the scene where Robin Williams is going through his typical customers and people that he knows. So like when he's talking about like the old lady that just takes pictures of her cats, which is what foresight this film had, about what the internet would develop into.
Just pictures of cats
and dogs, yeah. The insurance claims guy who's just got pictures of, smashed in cars, amateur porn,
Yep. They knew what they were doing.
But I mean, I just like that because someone who's worked in retail for 5 years, it's like, yeah, I had a shit ton of regular customers. No, there's people I work with now at my current job that I used to, serve at the steward's shop I used to work at. I can still remember right now, like the lotto numbers they'd play and the cigarettes they'd buy.
Yeah, because you'd know them from like lottery dude, cigarette dude, guy who gets coffee every day. Yeah.
And what they would get, yeah. So,
yep.
That's a nice little, again, nice little connection right there.
Yeah.
I will say, because we didn't bring it up, we slightly mentioned it too, because we're both Evangelion fans.
Yeah.
Well, I guess me more so than you. I just found it funny. I didn't know that reference when I first watched the film, because I didn't watch Evangelion until I was like 18, 19 years old in college. And I just found funny how Robin Williams, an actual fan of Evangelion, and that was his actual action figure. I just found it funny that like a 13-year-old kid is like, I got this, I wanted to buy this Ava unit. Who's seen the show?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that kid that probably would not have seen that show. At that time.
Because they only aired one episode.
Maybe he just saw the.
He didn't get his info right. He's like, this is a good guy and he kills bad guys. He's like, no, that's a bad. That's one of the things that tears Asuka's unit in half and impales it in an end of Evangelion. Are you sure? Are you sure you watched that?
The kid didn't know what he's talking about.
Opening scene has a kid masturbating on a girl who's comatose. Are you sure you watched that? Maybe Cy brought him over. Like, hey, wow, got this, What an old concept, too, going to the store to buy action figures. Toys R Us is now out of business.
Not in Canada. It's thriving. It is. It's thriving in Canada. They moved all their stores to Canada. I'm not even joking. Yep. I went to a Toys R Us when I was in Canada. It's popular. All right, so we should give 1 Hour Photo a rating. Out of 10, I don't know. Out of 10 disposable cameras, what would you give 1 Hour Photo?
I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It's one of my favorite films of all time. Leading up to this episode, I did say that. It's a film one of the films every year I kind of make sure to at least watch once. I think it's probably my favorite performance by Robin Williams. He's one of my favorite actors and stand-up comedians of all time. I think he does such a terrific job in this as playing a quiet, obsessed man in kind of a way that you really don't get to see in films. Kind of see, their own perspective, their own obsession, how they feel. Because again, like I said, most of these films take place from the perspective of the person who's being stalked. I think he's just terrific in this. He's really relatable, and you can, like you said, you can relate to him. You can, relate to his loneliness, whether you've ever experienced it or not. You can be like, I understand, why he's the way he is. Though the film's kind of is vague in all sorts of ways about it, which leaves it to your imagination, which is good. I think the casting overall is pretty good. Like I said, they're all ancillary, but I think they're all pretty good. Gary Cole in his 10 minutes is just great. I love the way the film's shot. I think it's beautiful. I think it's shot. I think they put a lot of effort and thought into the way they shot this film, especially with the whole photo motif going on throughout it. It'd be pretty bad on their part if it wasn't shot well. I just think it's a very interesting story, and it's very good. I will say, I almost kind of wish, in a way, it's only an hour and 30 minutes. And he does a lot in that hour and 30, but it'd almost be nice as maybe 15 minutes longer, get a little bit more background on certain things. What's, a little bit more about Nina and Will's relationship, and why is it strained, and why is he with Maya? Is it just a fling? Is it just some random girl that he's just fucking on the side, or is it he got a romance kindling with them? A little bit more about Robin Williams' backstory. I think that, it'd be nice to see a little bit more from this film, a little bit longer. I think it could actually benefit from a lengthening of the runtime. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'd give it a 9 as well. I think it's really good. I think Robin Williams does a really great job. I like the storyline quite a bit, and I like the idea of this person who's kind of got this window into another life, a perfect life, that kind of destroys him once he finds out that it's not as perfect as he thought. And that destruction is more apparent because he also did not have a perfect life growing up, so he was hoping that someone would. So I like that. It doesn't really go in the same direction as what a normal thriller would do with this type of storyline, where you'd have a stalker who was mostly interested in the female protagonist.
Some sexual desire.
Right, exactly. That's not the case in this film. And I like how it's all set from Cy's perspective, because you do have a lot of that opportunity to build a relationship with Cy and then feel a little let down with him at the end of the film because he does things that you don't want him to do. And you have this emotional connection, but it also is tough because you have sympathy, but I guess you wouldn't really condone what he does at the end of the film, or maybe you do. Maybe the question really is open there to say well, no one is really a good character here. So what was was it a good thing that he did? Was it a horrible thing that he did? Where do you come off with that final message? And so, you kind of have that question lingering at the end of the film as well. So I like it. I think it's a thought-provoking film.
Could also say too that maybe like the emotional sympathy you feel for him could be misplaced.
Right.
Right.
Because you have to remember it all is coming from Sai's perspective. So Sai's relaying this story to us. So who knows?
Could be
is he unreliable? Yeah. So there's always that too. So the whole thing is nice and thought-provoking, dark and dreary, and I like that. Dark and Dreary is some of my favorite films. So
yeah, there's no happy ending. Very dour.
Yeah.
Very
exactly. I like that.
I do too. But yeah, no, I definitely think too. Like it'd be nice to see a little bit like an extended cut of this. See, what got left on the cutting room floor, and see maybe some of the backstory that they could have put into it.
Yep.
And two, it's a film that even though it's dated in some aspects, technology-wise, the message is still very poignant, especially with our social media being so and technology being so ingrained into how we portray ourselves online.
Yep. All right, so that concludes our episode on 1 Hour Photo. Next time on the show, we're going to probably be launching into our Halloween episodes. Our Halloween series for September and October, because it's going to take us that long. We haven't announced what our series is.
Well, you better now.
I'm not going to. They're going to have to find out the day that we post that episode, or I guess probably a couple days in advance. But I don't want to pre-announce it. We'll let them take a guess as to what we're going to be doing.
But we're coming back weekly.
Yep. For the Halloween season, we will be back weekly. Because we're going, like I said, we're going to need to in order to cover everything that we have planned. So check back next time. It'll be in 2 weeks. Because we'll start at the beginning of September. And then we're going to go straight through to the end of Halloween. So that will be a lot of fun. Will it also be difficult like Saw was? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not as bad.
We'll see.
To
be honest with you, it's been like 3 years since I've watched all those films.
So
it might be time for me to rewatch it.
Yeah. All right. So we will see you in 2 weeks for the start of our Halloween series. And until then, thanks for listening. Check back into our previous Halloween series when we did Saw. And we'll see you then.
We didn't do that last year.
No, not last year. Last year we did a series of films, right? We just did...
Remake Halloween.
Oh, yeah, it was Remake Halloween. That's right. Wow, I've forgotten all the stuff that we did. Saw was 2 years ago, wasn't it? Wow. Damn. That was a long time ago.
Some gatekeeper you are.
I know.
God damn.
All right, so go back and listen to our Remake Halloween episodes. And then the Saw series.
Or both. You should listen to both.
Why? Because
we're entertaining.
And then after that, come back and join us in 2 weeks for our new Halloween series. All right? All right, so we'll see you then. Thanks for listening.
Take care.